village greens in this country where you'll find a cricket pitch or perhaps a mill pond, we've got our own private execution site. And that horrific sight, not you madam, is marked by that small glass memorial and is not to be confused with the public scaffold outside on the hill. 3 Queens of England and some others were executed in this area. Before I tell you some of the stories, I'd like to describe a few of the buildings that surround us here on the green. Behind you is the largest and oldest of all our towers. That's the White Tower. Work began on that site in 1078 under the direction of a monk called Gundalf Beck, and it took 20 years to complete. The windows were later added by Sir Christopher Wren in the 17th century. On each corner there is a turret. On top of the turrets there are golden crowns, and beneath them weather vanes showing the royal standard. This signifies that this is still a royal palace, though no longer a royal residence. However, kings and queens lived up there for over 500 years. The last monarch to do so was James I in 1603. If you want to visit our wonderful tower, go across the boardwalk, down the hill and back in up the wooden stairs. There are 204 stairs in total going up to the top. Yeah. Not for the faint-hearted.
Not for the faint-hearted.
If you look down there, you can see a large black and white Tudor building known as the Queen's House. It dates from 1540 and is the best preserved Tudor building in the City of London. That is now the home of the Constable of the Tower of London, and being a home of such a high-ranking official, it has sometimes been used to accommodate some very important prisoners. Prior to her execution in 1542, Queen Catherine Howard spent time in that building. The last prisoner to spend any time there was a man called Rudolf Hess. He was the deputy leader of the Nazi party. He was Adolf Hitler's right-hand man. He defected in May 1941, was captured near Glasgow and brought here to the Tower. After 3 days of questioning, he was sent into the country for his own protection, and at the end of the war, tried for his crimes and sentenced to life imprisonment in Spandau Prison, which is where he died. That's the Beauchamp Tower, and in the Beauchamp Tower are 91 inscriptions carved into the walls by the prisoners. Some of those carvings are over 550 years old, and it's called the Beauchamp Tower because the first prisoner to be held in there was Mr. Beauchamp. That's the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula, and that's where all the people I've spoken about today have been buried. Finally, the last of our buildings to visit, I think it's worth going in, is that one there, the Waterloo block, and underneath that golden clock is an archway, and that archway has got a queue coming out of it because they're going in to see the crown jewels and royal regalia. Possibly the finest collection of diamonds anywhere in the world. Right, let's go back to this execution site where these 3 queens, amongst others, would have died. Now, the first victim in 1536 was Queen Anne Boleyn. She was tried and found guilty of adultery and incest in a trial held here in the Tower. Now, I'm not sure she was guilty of that, but one thing she was guilty of was that she had failed to provide the king with a son and heir. At the age of 35 and having miscarriages, it's unlikely she will. The king is desperate for a son. He's moved on to Jane Seymour. Meanwhile, Anne is now a problem, but while she lives, the kings of France, Spain and the Holy Roman Empire will never sign any treaty with England, and they've been told not to by the Pope. And so Anne must be removed, but she's absolutely petrified at the prospect of dying an agonising death at the hands of a clumsy axeman, and she requested that she be executed in the French style with a 2-handed sword. This was granted by the king, and a French master swordsman was sent for from Calais. So imagine the scene over there on the day of the execution. Straw lay all around the scaffold, mainly to absorb the blood, but also to hide the sword, which was wrapped in some sack beneath the straw. The Queen was on her knees with her head bowed in prayer, and the executioner stood directly behind her. When he thought the time was right, he very quietly went down, pulled out the sword, held it in readiness above Queen Anne, and then surprisingly he turned to his assistant and shouted, "Portez-moi mon épée," which means "bring me my sword." This startled Anne in such a way that she looked up, at which point he smote her head from her body with one quick clean strike. The head and the body were placed together in an elm box, taken into our chapel and buried up by the altar, and that's where she is to this day.